$847,000. That's how much my sister stole from me. Not borrowed. Stole. And when I found out where every single penny went, I made sure her dream wedding turned into a nightmare she'd never forget. I need you to understand something first. I'm not the villain here. For 6 years, I worked 70-hour weeks as a medical device sales rep. No vacations. No new car. I wore the same 3 suits on rotation and meal prepped every Sunday to save money. Why? Because I was building something. A house fund. My future. By age 29, I had $847,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, waiting for me to find the perfect property in Portland. My sister Emma knew about this money. Everyone in my family knew. I'd mentioned it maybe twice, both times when my mom asked why I never traveled or bought anything nice for myself. Emma was 26, a social media manager who made decent money but spent it faster than she earned it. Handbags, trips to Tulum, bottomless brunches she'd photograph for her Instagram. We weren't close, but we weren't enemies either. Just siblings. Then she got engaged to Derek, a finance bro who drove a leased BMW and talked constantly about his portfolio. The wedding was set for June. Destination wedding in Italy. She posted about it incessantly. 200 guests. A castle venue. A 4-day celebration. I rolled my eyes at the excess but figured it was her money to waste. March 15th. That's when my world exploded. I was checking my savings account balance before meeting with a real estate agent. The page loaded. My stomach dropped through the floor. Balance, $3,247.89. I refreshed. Same number. I called the bank, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. There were several large transfers, the representative said. All authorized with your account credentials and security answers. Authorized by who? She read off the dates. January 7th, January 19th, February 2nd, February 28th. Withdrawals of $200,000, then $250,000, then $180,000, then $217,000. All transferred to an account ending in 7,743. I knew that account number. I'd sent Emma rent money to it once when she was between apartments. That's when I realized. That's when everything clicked into place. She had access to everything she needed. We'd grown up in the same house. Our childhood dog's name. My security question answer. My mother's maiden name. And 3 years ago, she'd been at my apartment when I logged into my bank account to pay her back for concert tickets. She'd been standing right behind me. I drove to her apartment. Didn't call. Didn't text. Just drove. She answered the door in a silk robe with a face mask on, holding a glass of wine. Oh my God, hey, I wasn't expecting you. Where's my money, Emma? Her face did this thing. This micro-expression that lasted maybe half a second where her eyes went completely flat and cold before she rearranged her features into confusion. What? What money? The $847,000 you stole from my savings account. Where is it? She actually laughed. That's insane. Why would I? I showed her my phone screen. My bank statement. She went pale, then red, then pale again. I can explain. I'm calling the police. Wait. She grabbed my arm. Please, just, come inside. Let me explain. Please. Here's where it gets crazy. I went inside. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to hear what possible justification she could have. She sat me down and started crying. Real tears. Mascara running down her face. The wedding got so expensive, she sobbed. Derek's parents were supposed to pay for half, but they backed out last minute. We'd already put deposits down. Non-refundable deposits. The venue. The catering. The flights for the wedding party. We were going to lose everything. All our vendors. I panicked. So you committed felony theft. I was going to pay you back. Derek got a promotion. He starts his new position in August and makes way more money. We were going to pay you back by the end of the year. With interest. I swear. You stole almost $1 million for a wedding. It's not just a wedding. Her voice got shrill. It's the most important day of my life. You don't understand. You've never even had a serious relationship. This is everything to me. And you have a good job. You'll make it back. But I can't redo my wedding. This is my one chance. I stared at her. This person I'd shared a childhood with. Who I'd defended against bullies in middle school. who I'd driven to the hospital when she had appendicitis because our parents were out of town. She was looking at me like I was the unreasonable one. "I'm pressing charges," I said. She stopped crying instantly. "If you do that, you'll destroy my entire life. I'll go to prison. Derek will leave me. Mom and Dad will be humiliated. Is that what you want? To ruin your own sister over money? Over money. Like it was $20 for pizza. You have 48 hours to return every penny, or I go to the police." She laughed. A bitter, sharp sound. "I can't. It's spent. The deposits are paid. The dress is altered. The flights are booked. There's maybe $30,000 left in our account. Then cancel everything and get refunds. They're non-refundable. That's the whole point. And I'm not canceling my wedding because you're being selfish about money you weren't even using." I left. Sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to breathe. Then I drove to my parents' house. They needed to know what their youngest daughter had done. But when I walked in, Emma had already called them. They were waiting for me in the living room, arms crossed. "Emma told us about the misunderstanding," my mom said. "Misunderstanding? She said she borrowed some money for the wedding and you're overreacting. Honey, I know you're upset. But she's your sister. Family helps family. And she promised she'd pay you back. She stole $847,000 from my account without asking. That's not borrowing. That's theft." My dad sighed. "Don't be dramatic. Theft is such an ugly word. She made a mistake. A bad decision. But she's trying to make it right. Can't you just let it go? For the family? Let it go? The wedding is in 3 months," my mom said. "If you press charges now, it'll destroy everything. The whole family will suffer. Cousins are flying in from Ireland. Derek's family has spent thousands on travel. You'd be humiliated too, you know. Everyone will know your sister is a criminal because of you. Because of me. I looked at these people who raised me and saw strangers. So I should just eat the loss. Lose 6 years of savings so Emma can have her castle wedding. You'll recover," my dad said. "You're young. You make good money. But Emma's wedding day only happens once. And honestly, hoarding that much money in savings when your sister needed help, that's pretty selfish." I walked out without another word, sat in my car in their driveway, and cried for the first time in 5 years. Then I wiped my face, started the engine, and began making calls. Because if they thought I was going to roll over and let this go, they had no idea who they were dealing with. The thing about working in medical device sales, you meet a lot of people, lawyers, accountants, private investigators. I'd sold a hospital a $4 million MRI machine the previous year and became friendly with their chief financial officer. Her wife was a criminal defense attorney. I called her. "This is straightforward wire fraud and identity theft," she told me after I explained everything. "Federal crimes. Your sister's looking at up to 20 years, if prosecuted fully. But here's what I'd recommend." She laid out a plan. A real plan. Not just criminal charges. Though those were on the table. Something more comprehensive. More surgical. Something that would make Emma understand exactly what she'd done while giving me back my life. Step 1. I filed a police report. Not in my hometown where my family had connections, but in the county where the bank was headquartered. I brought printed bank statements, emails between Emma and me discussing my savings, and a recording of our conversation from her apartment. Oregon is a one-party consent state. She never knew I'd recorded the whole thing on my phone in my pocket. Step 2. I contacted every single vendor for Emma's wedding. The venue, the caterer, the florist, the photographer, the travel company handling guest accommodations. I explained that the person who'd paid their deposits had done so with stolen funds. Stolen from me. I provided police report numbers and asked them to contact me before delivering any services, as I'd be seeking to recover those funds. You want to know what happened next? 12 of the 15 vendors immediately froze their contracts pending investigation. The venue called Emma directly. The caterer sent a cease and desist. The photographer refunded the deposit and canceled. Within 48 hours, Emma's dream wedding was falling apart piece by piece, and she had no idea why. She called me screaming. "What did you do?" "The venue just canceled on us. They said something about fraud." I filed a police report. "The money you spent was stolen. They're seizing it as evidence. You promised you'd give me 48 hours. I lied." I hung up. She called back 17 times. I blocked her number. But here's the kicker. I was just getting started. Remember how Emma was a social media manager? Her entire career was built on her Instagram presence. That's 47,000 followers. She'd been documenting her entire wedding planning journey. Dress fittings, venue tours, invitation designs. Every post got thousands of likes and comments. Goals. Dream wedding. You're so blessed. I created a burner account. Waited until she posted a photo of her and Derek at a wedding cake tasting with the caption, 3 months until we say I do, at our dream Italian castello. Then I commented. Funded by $847,000 stolen from her sister's savings account without permission. Police report filed. Castle venue currently under investigation for receiving stolen funds. The comment got 43 upvotes before she deleted it and turned off comments. But screenshots live forever. Someone had already shared it to a wedding shaming group with 200,000 members, then a Reddit forum, then Twitter. By the next morning, wedding thief was trending in our local area. Emma posted a tearful video claiming it was all a family misunderstanding and I was trying to ruin her happiness out of jealousy. The comments were not sympathetic. Turns out people really don't like thieves. Her company called an emergency meeting. Social media managers whose personal accounts become PR nightmares are liabilities. They put her on immediate unpaid leave pending an internal review. Derek's finance firm got wind of the situation, having an employee's fiancé under investigation for wire fraud. Also not a good look. They suggested he take a step back from client-facing roles until it was resolved. Week 2. The police investigation moved forward. They seized Emma's bank accounts. Froze Derek's accounts too, since some of the stolen money had been commingled with his funds. Their rent check bounced. Their car payment bounced. Emma had to move back in with our parents, because she couldn't afford her apartment. Derek moved back with his parents. The engagement photos they'd had professionally printed and mailed to 200 guests, those arrived the same week news broke that the wedding was under investigation. My mom called, crying. How can you do this to your own sister? To this family? I didn't do anything. Emma did. I'm just making sure she faces consequences. She made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday. This was calculated theft over 4 months. She knew my security questions. She knew my passwords. She planned this. She's talking about hurting herself. She can't handle this stress. Then she should return my money. She doesn't have it. Then she shouldn't have spent it. I hung up. My mom sent a 5-paragraph text about family loyalty and forgiveness. I blocked her too. Derek left Emma. Not because of the theft, really, but because his parents threatened to cut him off financially if he married a woman under federal investigation. He'd told Emma his family's money was his money. It wasn't. He broke off the engagement via text while she was living in our parents' guest room. She posted a black square on Instagram with a broken heart emoji. The comments were brutal, but I wasn't done. Not even close. See, during the investigation, something interesting came to light. Emma hadn't just stolen from me. She'd taken out 3 credit cards in our mother's name 2 years earlier when Mom had pneumonia and wasn't paying attention to her mail. $43,000 in debt that our mother didn't know existed. Mom had been making minimum payments on credit cards she didn't remember opening, thinking she was just forgetful. When I showed the police evidence of that fraud, they added identity theft charges against our mother to the case. Mom's case. Against Emma. My mother, who'd asked me to let it go and called me selfish, learned that her baby daughter had been stealing from her for years. Mom stopped defending Emma pretty quickly after that. The preliminary hearing was in August. Emma showed up with a public defender because she couldn't afford a private attorney. She'd gained maybe 30 pounds from stress and her hair was falling out. She tried to approach me in the courthouse hallway. Please. I'm so sorry. I'll do anything. Just drop the charges. Please. I looked at her. Really looked at her. You told me I was being selfish about money I wasn't even using. You told me you deserved it more than I did. You tried to make me the villain. So no, I'll kill myself if I go to prison. Then you shouldn't have committed federal crimes. I walked away. The prosecutor offered her a deal. Plead guilty to wire fraud and identity theft, 3 years in federal prison, and full restitution to both me and our mother. Or take it to trial and risk 10 years. Her lawyer took 5 minutes to convince her to take the plea. Here's where it gets really satisfying. The restitution order included not just the principal amounts, but interest, legal fees, and punitive damages. Emma owed me $1.1 million. She owed our mother $67,000. On a social media manager's salary, Assuming she ever worked again, she'd be paying that debt until she was 60 years old. Her wages would be garnished, her tax returns seized. Any inheritance she might have gotten from our parents, gone to pay her debts. The Italian Castello? They kept every penny of the deposit since Emma had violated the contract terms by paying with fraudulent funds. The dress shop sold her custom gown to another bride. The photographer published a blog post about the importance of vetting clients and used Emma's case as a cautionary tale. Her face was pixelated, but everyone who knew her recognized the story. Emma's 3 years in federal prison were not pleasant. I know this because my mom visited her monthly and tried to guilt me into coming too. I never did, not once. Mom sent me photos once of Emma looking gaunt and miserable in her prison jumpsuit. I deleted them without responding. Derek married someone else. A quiet courthouse wedding. No social media announcement. I know because one of his co-workers was married to a doctor I sold equipment to, and the medical device sales world is small. His new wife was a CPA who helped him rebuild his credit after Emma's fraud tanked his score. My parents asked me to forgive Emma approximately once a month for 2 years. Then they stopped asking. I think they finally understood that what she did wasn't forgivable, not because of the money, but because she'd been willing to destroy my entire future for a party. Because when I'd confronted her, she'd tried to manipulate me into thinking I was wrong for being upset. Because she'd turned my own parents against me until they learned she'd stolen from them too. I eventually recovered financially. The restitution payments trickle in monthly, automatically garnished from the $14 an hour job Emma got after prison at a call center. I don't need the money anymore. By the time she was sentenced, I'd rebuilt my savings through my job and some smart investments. I bought a house in Portland, smaller than the one I'd originally wanted, but mine. Paid for with money I earned. Emma got out of federal prison last year. She lives in a studio apartment in the bad part of town and works 2 jobs to make restitution payments. Her Instagram is private now, with 47 followers. No more aspirational content. No more luxury brands. No more Castello dreams. She sent me a letter 6 months ago. A long, handwritten apology explaining that prison had changed her, that she understood now how wrong she'd been, that she'd spend the rest of her life trying to make it up to me. She asked if we could meet for coffee. Talk. Try to rebuild some kind of relationship. I wrote back. 1 sentence. You were right about one thing. I'll make my money back. But you can never redo your wedding. I hear she cried for 3 days after getting that letter. I don't feel bad about it. Not even a little bit. Some people need to learn that actions have consequences. That stealing from family doesn't get forgiven just because you share DNA. That the most important day of your life means nothing if you destroy someone else's future to pay for it. $847,000. That's what she stole. 3 years in federal prison. A criminal record. $1.1 million in restitution. A broken engagement. A destroyed reputation. And a lifetime of financial struggle. That's what it cost her. And honestly, still not enough. She chose a party over her sister. I chose justice over family loyalty. We both got exactly what we deserved.